Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Big DK Energy Podcast. My name is Danny K, or the DK in the Big DK Energy. And it's fall. Everything starts to wind down, it starts to cool down, well, not here in Florida. And with Halloween and Thanksgiving coming up, I realized that I need to add some fitness into my life. And speaking of that, we're actually having a repeat guest on today to help us out with ways that we can get in better shape before all this happens. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming today's guest, or welcoming back today's guest, Mr. Brooks Jenkins.
Thanks, Danny. Awesome to be back, man.
Glad to have you back, dude.
Love to talk fitness. Love to just talk, period, man. You're always a good time. Always a nice guy. Thank you.
Of course, man. And, you have a lot to offer in terms of wisdom about fitness and how one can slowly inch to becoming the most pinnacle self they can possibly be.
Yeah, at least in the fitness space. I mean, guess we were talking about this earlier a little bit about being the master of all things, but I would never claim to be. But in fitness, I've put in my 10,000 hours.
I was going to say, what's your tenure?
Going on 13th year of 5-day-a-week gym.
That's an entire teenager.
And weekly meal prepping for 13 years in a row.
Yeah, dude, your stories about meal prep are insane because I applaud your discipline to all that because, of course, you're sarcastically groaning when you're like, I gotta do the vertical diet, but you know what? That's why I look like this.
Oh, man, I'm so lucky. And you're right, it's both. And that's okay. I think the best things are when we realize things are both, or nuanced, where it's really hard to meal prep in gym at first, but then once you get into it, you're so thankful that you did that I try to apply that same idea to the other things in my life that are not as polished.
That's awesome because it's clearly shown results.
Yeah, thank you, man. I agree. I wanted to be my own superhero, and I'm getting close to it. Physically and health-wise, that was just the things that I had the most insecurities about very early. So there was enough push to get me to go do it. Now, looking back on it, I thank the people who made fun of me, who beat me up, who pushed me down, who told me that I would never be a bodybuilder, that made all the bodybuilding jokes to me when I told them when I was 17 that it was time that I was going to put on weight when I was 150 pounds soaking wet. So it gets me excited because it was a track record of showing myself that I would show up for myself. So if I can do that in some other things, and what I really do, just to give a true introduction to anyone watching, is that I want to help the next generation of men get into health and fitness so they can use that as a springboard for the rest of their life, as I did. And I didn't understand how powerful of a tool that was for the rest of my life, how happy it's made me, how patient it's made me, how understanding it's made me, how able to connect with my emotions it's made me, how looking like I want to look on the outside with confidence it's made me. It brought me gifts that I had no intention of getting.
Just like a very fit Santa Claus.
Yes, I was thinking about that for the Halloween costume too. I was thinking about just going Santa for Halloween.
I can totally see that, and the best part is if you eat any cookies, you've definitely earned them. Would you dye your beard white?
I guess I would. Yeah, why not? I just won't put glitter in it. I see the beard glitter things, and you just never get glitter out of anything. I let a glitter bomb go in my bathroom once, and I still find glitter years later.
Yeah, so glitter it was described as the syphilis of the art world.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does. Being a virgin, I don't understand that, but that's a good thing.
Probably for the best, man.
Yeah.
So Halloween-wise, if we're talking trying to fit in our costumes, tell me first what costume you're thinking.
So actually the past few years I've been kind of bland about Halloween because I'm just like, I just don't want to do anything. But then this year I've been rewatching one of my favorite animes, One Piece, and so I'm going to go as the main character. His name is Luffy, and he's such an awesome character.
Yeah? Is he like a sword guy or
No, actually,
katanas guy? Or
in the world of One Piece, there are these fruits called devil fruits, and so if you eat them, you gain a certain power. And so Luffy's power, it's called the Gum fruit, I think, but basically he's Mr. Elastic, or
from Fantastic Four?
Yeah. Mr. Fantastic, you know how he can stretch? Yeah. Well, that's his power. He's made out of rubber.
Yeah. So how are you pulling this costume off?
So it's basically it's a very distinct straw hat, and so I'm gonna get that, and then it's like jean shorts, but I'm not gonna get jorts. I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. And then, wear sandals, and then he's ripped. And so, realistically, I know for a fact I'm not going to get a chiseled body in 2 months. But that being said, I can at least do what I can to at least look as great as I can when the picture is taken, so I can look as badass as possible.
Yeah. I mean, if that's important to you, 100%, man. I mean, let's be real. I mean, who's it not important to, right? Like, in the back of our heads, like, wanting to look good and wanting to feel self-confidence when we look in the mirror. Like, I think sometimes when we get caught up in saying, like, it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter for what. Like, does it not help our self-confidence to like the way we look in the mirror? Like, if we can start there, totally. Might as well give ourselves that gift. And you've actually come a decent way from not having worked out in quite a while to you've been kind of on it a little bit lately. As far as I know, you've done more than you have in recent time.
I try to do what I can, and actually working out with you that one time actually did kickstart something, because even though I didn't actually physically go to the gym, in between my sets I was actually getting like 5 sets of curls and like 5 sets of shoulder presses with my dumbbells here, because I'm just
you were doing workouts at home.
Yeah, and then also because I've had a lot of anxiety these past couple months, so I know that walking is good for your mental health in terms of calming down anxiety. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk, and then turns out it would be like 3.5 miles. I'm like, okay. I mean, I still have the anxiety, but at least I feel good that I did something physical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking about those anxieties, just cardio and working out, period, just releasing those endorphins and giving you that rush, period, is nice. Plus, the knowing you're investing a little bit in yourself after high is good. And usually, for me, I don't know about you, but after I do a workout, the next thing I do is usually a healthy thing also.
Like what?
Whether that's do a chore that I might have been putting off, maybe I'll go do the dishes. Like, I'm like just using that good momentum to just chew through some stuff in my life that otherwise probably would have seemed a little more daunting.
Yeah. Actually, I brought this up in a previous episode, but since we both play hockey, or I used to, and really hope to one day go back to it. You talking about building up on momentum reminds me of this one saying that my old hockey coach used to say. He would say, "One gets you 2."
Oh, I like that. Yeah, explain. How did he explain it?
So it's just that when you get that first goal, everybody is happy, of course, because you literally break the ice. But then,
That's such a good point, though.
Yeah, and then after you get that first goal, while everyone's hyped up, they can use that momentum to absolutely crash the net so that they can potentially get another one, which...
Yeah, it's like a morale boost. It's a win that it's a goal, period, on the board that you're ahead, and then it's a win that you have momentum and morale now on your side, so...
Right, or even if you're down like 7-0, I would rather take a loss but still scored rather than a shutout, because shutout it's just bad.
Yeah, then you go take a naked lap.
Exactly. God. I mean, as a goalie, I think I technically had 2 shutouts, but essentially the last goal entered in the last second of the third period, so like it went in as the buzzer was going off, so it's like...
Did it count or no?
They counted it, but I saw it didn't. Oh well. It's written history.
Yeah, but who's counting, huh?
Whatever.
Sounds like you're over it.
Yeah, well, for the most part.
I'm with you. I can remember a couple of those basketball games and hockey games where we lost at the last second, and those like couple moments, I don't know that I will ever get over.
Yeah.
I think it's good, though. I think it's good to have a little competitive something in you, because if you don't, you're probably sitting on the couch. I mean, I know I'm sitting on a couch right now.
Ironically, coming from a guy who's sitting on the couch.
You're probably sitting on a couch and didn't do the things that you told yourself you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been putting off some stuff too, a little bit more than I should have, but I just made the decision that I'm like, I have to do this for me, because, I'm turning 28 in November, and...
Old man.
Great, thanks. But it's just that at 28, I can't laze around anymore. I understand that people say in your 20s, make a bunch of mistakes, but then I realize I'm breaking out of that, so I realize I kind of have to limit my mistakes now, because once 30 hits, that's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be that guy who's just going to do a callback and use what your coach just said, 1 for 1, I mean, if you can frame it up with that same 1 for 1 saying, hey, you just, I consider from 20 to 30, I mean, I don't know shit, first of all. I'm just making this up as I go as well. But what I've seen, being 30 years old, my 30th birthday was actually this last weekend.
Happy belated.
Thank you, man. No, you're on it. You sent me a text right on my birthday. That was so nice to get. But just going from 20 to 30, I felt like I just got the foundation. Like 0 to 20, I felt like I was just under the thumb of parents. Like, thankful for them. I'm happy I got to get raised by them to be who I was going to be today. But I mean, I'm just doing what I'm downloaded for the first 20 years. And then the first 10, I'm just trying to calibrate and get my fundamentals down, trying to get some kind of money, some kind of fitness, some kind of attraction from women. So just, anchor myself as a man in the world. And now that I'm hitting 30, I feel a similar way where I'm like, okay, I can actually snip some of these parachutes behind me now, and I can let those weights go by, and now I can run a little more freely, knowing, okay, I'm done with some of these distractions, some of these things that aren't going to mean as much to me in the long run.
And that's commendable. And, it's just like, my parents get on my nerves, but I love them to death. And so as I get older, I appreciate more of their lessons. And, sometimes I kind of go back to being kind of childish because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. But at the same time, it's like, just because you have to deal with it doesn't mean you have to like it. But one of the things you said was interesting. You said being a man in this world. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is your definition of masculinity?
Well, I think I would like to be a little bit more specific. My definition of masculinity is the embodiment of male characteristics, which I believe are just from your genes, period. But what I practice for myself is what I call, and I didn't make this up, but divine masculinity, being things that are someone who is grounded, somebody who is patient, a man who is strong but doesn't use his strength to intimidate and only uses it to fight, protect, and provide. So just with recent events, I think masculinity has a pretty rough name on it. So as a man coming up in the world, I think it's more important now than ever for men and young men, especially coming up in the world, to orient themselves with good examples of masculinity, which are patient and kind and courageous and not too insanely over the top and uncalibrated, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It balances everything.
Yeah.
Who are some of those examples for you then?
Oh, man. I'm a Jordan Peterson fan.
Boo, I'm just kidding.
I like a lot of what he says.
Me too.
I really like Ryan Holiday. I love a lot of his stoic teachings.
I have the obstacle is the way and ego is the enemy.
Oh, perfect. I love that. I was watching some of his stoic videos before I came over here, so I think people who are going to be teaching you in specific way, I think sometimes with teachers of masculinity, sometimes they get caught up in thinking that they can cover every single piece of being a man, which I think there's so many that we're all trying our best to cover all of our bases, but at the same time, I think it's really powerful to find certain niches, find some of your fitness guys. Like what I did, an example for fitness was I found my first 3 or 4 guys and was just YouTube searching, what am I going to do as far as putting on weight as a skinny guy? Find my first 4 guys, see what they say. They all say a little something similar. They all say a little bit something different. And then as I figure that out and get a little more hand on it, I throw away a couple of those guys that I follow and I pick up a couple new ones because I want a little bit of a different method and I get to go a different way. I think that same method for picking different people for different areas of your life is big. I would love to listen to Jordan Peterson about ethics, about the idea of cleaning your room. He does that famous speech about getting up and making your bed every day.
Wasn't that a Navy SEAL admiral too?
Who said that?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's parroting that or if that was an original thing by him.
Whatever it was, that's the thing. And of course, Jordan Peterson can catch some heat, but I do find validity in what he has to say. Can he be a bit abrasive? Absolutely. But then again, my parents, I love them to death. They toughened me up.
And he is our parents' age. And I totally preface this with, I don't agree with every single thing he says either.
Correct.
But I think that's the bigger deal actually now, Danny, now that we're saying it, is the bigger deal is to understand nuance and understand the idea
What exactly is a nuance? I know I sound dumb for asking that question, but...
No, it's not dumb at all. I learned it at one point. A nuance is just the idea that something can have more than one layer. There's more than one piece to something. So it can be 2 things at once and be the same thing. It's kind of similar to like a paradox where it can be more than one thing at a time. So something nuanced is, I really like Jordan Peterson and I love some of his rules for life, but there's a couple where I'm like, not my favorite, but I'm not going to disavow Jordan Peterson. I'm not going to crap talk on Jordan Peterson because of that. I'm going to take in the things he says that are of value to me and are going to help me move forward, that I'm searching for, that he has much more expertise than me on, but I'm not going to get stuck on the couple things that I didn't like, so now I don't listen to anything he says. Everyone's a human. Everyone's super dynamic and has many things. I'm sure there's things that people don't like about me, but I'm sure there's a lot that they do like. So
yeah,
are they going to hate me completely because a couple of those things they don't enjoy? I mean, maybe, but it seems like the people who live a more happy, in sync, on purpose, successful, happy, positive life in general seem to be able to differentiate the two and say, okay, I love those things that they have, and then some of those things aren't my favorite thing,
Absolutely. And see, that's the thing. It's like, unfortunately, everybody has a favorite historical figure, or most people do, but unfortunately, it kind of goes back to what you were saying about how people are dynamic, because it's kind of hard to have a favorite historical figure unless you're willing to accept the fact that they aren't all good. Because that's impossible as humans for someone to be all good. Or maybe they were all good, but then they like died early. But you know,
Yeah,
that was just
and all of our definitions of good are different.
that's the thing.
It's objective. What is good? And I get, like, if we're gonna like pick and choose like that and be like that, you can also say like anything is good, anything is bad. I get it. Morally, generally, you want good people around, but in the end, everybody gets to choose what's their good and what's not their good. So
Yeah.
I just don't want to throw people. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because he said one or two things you don't like. There may be a big body of knowledge of something really valuable behind that as well.
Okay, exactly. And then also it's like, I'm willing to talk to you about it just so I can understand your point of view, but you can't attack me for wanting to hear your point of view. Because how else am I going to change if I don't know what's going on the other side?
Yeah, we lose dialogue. We lose it all.
Yeah. Oh well, and dialogue between people does get lost in translation. And speaking of lost in translation, that's what happens when I watch animes, even though they're dubbed. I brought that back because Luffy is in that anime that...
You're right, we got off of the costumes thing.
No, you're good, but that's how I brought it back.
So, how are you going to dress up as this guy? What was his name again?
Luffy.
Luffy from what anime?
One Piece.
One Piece? Luffy from One Piece, okay.
Yeah. So the show has been going on since like 1990-something, and it's still going on. It has like 8 more seasons. It's nuts. Now it's in a part where Luffy has matured more than when you first see him in like seasons 1, 2. I'm on 3 right now. His goal is to become king of the pirates, so he's kind of going into his own, and you know, he's starting to look the part, and so I'm like, damn, I have to look the king of the pirates.
Cool.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he just wears a straw hat, which is the name of his pirate crew, the Straw Hat Pirates, and he just wears jorts, sandals, and then either a red vest or like a red cardigan with a Satoshi waistband.
Oh, cool. A red vest would be awesome. Your arms. You can show your arms off. Fucking
Exactly.
be out with arms, straw hat, and then jorts.
Yeah, jorts, maybe like take a pair of jeans I don't wear anymore.
You have like moose legs, dude. You got some big ass fucking legs going on. So at least you got that going for you. I mean, everybody genetically has some kind of gift here and there, and you definitely lucked out with the leg thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good on you.
Yeah, but you looked out on the blue-eyed thing.
Yeah, that's true. They're green, but I'm not holding that against you, bro.
It's all right. I wish I got my dad's blue eyes. However, my dad has red hair though, so just imagine if I got both of those things.
Oh my gosh, you'd be like a Starburst commercial.
Like that. What
is he? A Scottish? Scottish Asian?
You're a Scots Korean. You don't make a wee bit of sense. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, if they said American, I'm like, that would exactly be me.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But is Santa really one of your options for Halloween this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the easy opt out option, because then I can wear that Santa stuff for Christmas stuff too. I do like doing the Santa thing, and when I do it around Halloween, then I can wear like a suspenders with it and Santa shorts or something, Santa pants, big boots.
Got it.
Big satchel full of.
Do you know who you should go?
Something, I don't know.
Do you know who you should go as?
Who?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
The quarterback.
Yeah. You just gotta get a leather jacket, no shirt under, and just get some like sunglasses, and then I forgot what he said, but he's a rock star.
Yeah. I remember that press conference. I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that, however, because I gotta watch Russ cook and watch Broncos country ride.
You know what? That's fair.
I couldn't put on the other jersey. I was thinking, is it God of War, where the guy with the red?
Oh yeah, that's Kratos.
Kratos. I'd like to try that.
You know what? Honestly, I could see you rocking that.
I don't really want to go bald, but I guess it wouldn't be much of a difference. So it's like, maybe for a day, it might be worth it to do the Halloween thing.
Why not? I mean, your hair grows back, so that's a thing.
Yeah. I actually got I guess this wasn't Halloween, but costume-wise, I bought a skirt, like a big leather tied laced Viking skirt, and it fit perfect, just dumb luck.
Nice.
And did that, and then did all the head tattoos from Vikings. Did like under eyes, over eyes, overhead, back of head, like head tattooed it up for EDC, and that was really fun. Like,
that's
people
sick.
are grabbing me, taking pictures, and
that's pretty sick. Yeah. I think if you can't do anything, do that.
Yeah, dude. I just need to play into the beard thing hard. I got attached to the beard. I don't think I've had a clean-shaven face for, it's probably been 5 years, 6 years.
I just shaved last Friday.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really an ego thing at this point, more like an attachment. I mean, I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun character, but I haven't seen my face in like 6 years. My mom's like, when am I going to see your face again? I don't even know what I look like.
Interesting. You won't recognize yourself.
Yeah, but anyway, I just want to lean into the beard thing with the costume, because you can't really do a like, when anybody looks at you when you're in a Halloween costume, they're looking at everything, trying to find the clue to figure out what you are, right?
Absolutely.
So when they're looking at you and you got a beard and you're not a bearded guy as a dress up, they're like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah, I've had that happen to me a couple times.
So I was just saying, to bring Halloween things full circle from what costumes we're going to wear to what we're going to think about doing, but fitness-wise, for Halloween, we got, how many weeks? 6, 7 weeks, probably?
Yeah, something like that.
Early September 11th, today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Rest in peace, everybody we lost on September 11th.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I remember that day pretty well, actually.
Yeah, where were you?
I was in first grade. I was in Virginia, and I got a call to the office, and I was thinking, I don't have a doctor's appointment today. And then that's when my cousins and my sister and I were in the basement watching the TV. Of course, I wanted to watch SpongeBob because I was like, oh boy, I get to come home early.
Yeah.
But then I didn't realize national tragedy.
Grade?
First grade, yeah.
First grade.
In front of
Okay,
my eyes.
so that you didn't get any knowledge while you were in school of it. You just heard about it when they picked you up because you're like, why am I getting picked up?
Exactly.
Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah, we were so young. I was third grade, I guess.
Were you in Colorado?
Yeah, in school in Colorado. But finish up with.
Oh, that was the end.
Did you see the second plane hit?
Or
was it already?
Actually, that's the thing. I don't remember.
So from what I remember, third grade wise, which I don't know that this was a great decision, but I guess what else do you do in a time like that? But my teacher got the TV on wheels and pulled it out and put it in front of the class and turned it on when the first tower got hit. And we're all watching. We're a class of 30 third graders watching this. And we didn't understand what was going on, but we could just see all of the teachers crying. And we didn't really understand what was going on. And then everybody was told to come to the middle of the school and all sit together in the school just in case there was some kind of threat that was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knew what was going on, right?
Correct.
So all the school got to the center of the school until each parent's called as they come up and pick everybody up. Same kind of deal. But I do remember the second plane hitting. For whatever reason, her letting us see that was kind of absurd.
Toughened you up at an early age.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't get full grasp of it until much later, being that young, so I don't claim
and now it's being taught in textbooks as a historical event.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's insane.
Yeah, but it's just weird because now we're not just reading about it, we lived it. Just imagine people in World War II. Coke was 15 cents. I remember stealing that off of Jerry while I took him prisoner. Times were way different back then.
Yeah, man. I mean, everything was so different. That's why I like to go watch World War II documentaries, because it helps me get in perspective how lucky I am to be here in an air-conditioned room on a podcast talking about Halloween costumes and fitness. How lucky are we?
Yeah, and
some people were involved in 9/11. Some people were in World War II. Some people were born before the 18th century, 19th century had no AC and no indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
We are so spoiled, man.
We are very lucky,
Crazy.
and some good things in history that happened that led to this also contributed. Yeah. For example, I don't know if you know about this, but essentially the Soviets had a few, I don't know if it was one submarine or a few, around the coast of the United States with nuclear warheads, and so the order can only go through if all the commanders said yes. And 3 of them said yes, but this one guy said no, and essentially it would have started World War III if he had done that.
That's so scary.
But I'm glad that some people have
good to keep your mind off of that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that some people have good heads on their shoulders, because that could have led some deformed kids or something like that.
Could have led to a completely different world.
Like Mad Max.
All right.
Speaking of that, Mad Max is a great costume idea.
As we come full circle. So knowing our timeline from here to Halloween is
7 to 8 weeks roughly.
7-8 weeks. You get this podcast out in a week. It's probably 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's call it 6 weeks to Halloween.
Or 5. 5 or 6.
That's fine. We'll call it 5. Little over a month to get to a body composition you want. You can actually change a decent amount of your body composition in about a month. In my belief, though, to make a very, an obvious long-term change in you is going to take a long time, for sure. But can you lose some water? Can you lose some water weight? Can you eat less processed foods in the meantime? Can you do a little bit more cardio in the meantime and lose some of that weight? Hell yeah. I don't think people understand how much water is held by carbohydrates in your body.
I one time read a hockey fact that goalies could lose to 7 or 9 pounds during a game, but then someone made me realize that's water weight.
Yeah. I mean, your electrolytes, your sodium, your carbohydrates, you've heard it, your body's made of water. It's mostly water.
73% 75%.
If you can manipulate the water inside you, you can make some big differences here and there in different parts of you that are going to look leaner and not leaner. Trust me, you're not putting on 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds of muscle in that amount of time. But what you can do in 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks is lean down. Yeah, you can consistently be in the gym is going to make you look buffer. If you've been to the gym in the last few days, that blood is going to be in there more than it is if you're not. So working out pretty hard a couple days beforehand, huge. Couple days beforehand, even day of. What I wouldn't recommend, which is funny because I think about this too, if I'm like, it's almost embarrassing to admit the vanity of what I'm about to talk about, but Halloween or going out period or going out to a pool or a Miami or a Mexico vacation where you'd like to look good on the beach, if you can kind of know some of these little things, you can make a decent amount of a hack at your body before you go take these trips. What I'd like to preface that with is the best thing for you is to make a long-term change, to make a habitual change and something you'll actually do long-term. But you save that, tune into a later podcast for that. But for right now, if you're just doing it in these 6 weeks, 5 weeks, I think people get really like, oh, I'm going to go on that Mexico vacation. I'm going to murder a workout like the day before. I'm going to work out all body and kill it and have like 2 or 3 massive, really hard workouts right before the vacation, kill myself, and then I'll look ripped on the vacation. I found that, and others that I know in the industry and in fitness as well, found that not to be the case, because it turns out you can go so hard that your body will be so depleted that your physique won't even look like it should look because you will be so beat up. I definitely find from some of my hardest, heaviest workouts that the next day or so I do not look the best, or the next couple days, because my body is recovering and just the muscle, the fat, the way it lays together isn't as symmetrically as appealing if I was recovered.
Got it.
Makes sense.
I feel like it's a misconception that you have to constantly work out, or if not, you won't get any kind of progress.
Well, this is what I was saying about nuance earlier, is because you're right, but it's both. It's like consistently work out, but when you're going to go hit Halloween or Mexican vacation, don't kill yourself, especially Halloween. If you're just working out to look good on a peak day, like bodybuilders will diet for 4 months, 3 months to look perfect for one day, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll schedule all their photo shoots around that next 4 or 5 days, where they're just looking lean and mean. But to kind of give you how bodybuilders do that in a short form is that they're cutting calories, and then they're manipulating water for the last piece. So take away all the calories, your workouts get weaker, you get smaller, but yes, you get peeled, you get leaner. But at the end, what we're talking about water-wise, then you empty out all the water. Then you look like a muscle skeleton monster for a day. You feel like ass, and then afterwards, then you're actually carbing up right before you go on for those last couple days before, depending on your coach and your strategy, the last couple days before the show, you're actually consuming some food, and that fills up your glycogen, and those carbohydrates replenish your glycogen. And then when you add a little water to it, the muscles pop up without the fat popping.
It reminds me of like those dry, ready to eat foods that you just add water to.
That's exactly it. That's such a good comparison. You hit it right on the head.
Okay, awesome. Well, that makes things better in my kind of frame of mind.
Yeah, to use this for Halloween, what my plan, and I'm dieting right now as well, but it's for a date past Halloween, is I would, if I'm working into the 6 weeks, I would eat as little processed food as possible. I would as much non-inflammatory food or whole foods as possible, foods that come from the ground, foods that come from the earth, animal foods, plant foods, seafoods, foods that are real foods, not a Twinkie or a McDonald's burger. Talking things from the earth that'll cause less inflammation in you, and that in your gut, in your stomach, the thing that people are usually the most worried about. I know it's my biggest area. That inflammation, the amount that your intestines are trying to deal with after, even if you've ever done this for a week or two and just eaten non-processed foods for a week or two, you will get so much smaller. You will be so much less inflamed. You will be less puffy. You'll see it in your face. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's like this, but for the most part, your body doesn't want to decode all of the things that you're putting in your body. Like basically to put it in a really simple, really bro science way, if you think of putting
pull sumo, eat butt.
I go gym.
Reps for Jesus.
So like if you take a Twinkie, right, to get all the things in there that you got in a Twinkie to make one, you had to process a lot of different foods, right? A lot of different chemicals, a lot of different things to get that Twinkie to be a Twinkie, right? So when you put it in your body, now your body's like, what the fuck is this? Now I got to take this all apart? That's a much more complicated puzzle to take apart than a burger that was from a cow that your body's been used to digesting for the entire time of human history.
So I have a question then. Is it a misconception that burgers are unhealthy?
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's going away more. Shit. That's a message I would love to put across. Red meat's the only real superfood, in my opinion. Also, here's another bro science way to think about this nutrition is I prefer grass-fed. I recommend grass-fed food. It has more, not a ton more, but it seems to have a little bit better of a nutrient profile. So when you get a burger that's a cow front that says grass-fed, it's eating foliage and grazing. When you're getting something that isn't, it's typically eating some kind of cornmeal or something that does not have nutrients in it. And I'm telling you that to tell you this, things don't magically have nutrition. They gain nutrition from what came before them, like the Lion King, Circle of Life. When something eats something, it is part of that thing and it is gaining nutrition from that. That's what's going on in the digestive system. So when I'm going to go eat a cow that is a burger that ate a bunch of grass, that cow that has multiple stomachs and a much, much hardier digestive system than I do, ate 10 million salads, grew to a couple thousand pounds, and then when I take a little square chunk out of that cow, that's that 10,000 salads put into that chunk with all those vitamins, all those minerals inside there. That's why it's such a punch of nutrition inside of a burger. Bad data, the statistics that come from talking about people who eat McDonald's burgers and then fries and then a drink and then that's their typical diet. That's not good. Those burgers are not made of grass-fed cows. They're barely made of meat, period. I think we all kind of know that by now. And at this point, it's kind of a choice. I'm not saying I never eat it. I'll do it every once in a while to like have that nostalgic fun taste, for sure.
McDoubles are great.
But if you're talking trying to fit into a Halloween costume in 5 weeks, the less processed foods you can eat, the less inflamed you'll be, the smaller your gut will be. I guarantee it. Try it, measure it, send it to me. I bet I'm not wrong. I've done it myself, and I've never looked leaner on the times when I can keep myself away from processed foods. Sadly, and alcohol. Alcohol is fun, I'm with you. But when I can keep myself away from alcohol and that, you decide what's worth it to you. Is it worth it to you to look 4 inches thinner in the costume that you want to wear to the Halloween party? You decide.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. In my sophomore year of college, I was drinking beer a lot. And then that was actually my heaviest year. And, every time that I kind of want to not drink like that again, but just flashbacks of that would kind of creep into me. And I would kind of feel the heaviness come back. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this feeling. And so that kind of deters me from eating some bad food sometimes. Or, drinking beer. I'll have one occasionally. Super, super occasionally. Maybe once a month even.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're right, because when I just kept drinking those beers, it's like drinking liquid bread. And so therefore, it's just going to puff me up. And no wonder I was at 36 waist. And now I'm just hovering around 34. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know the difference then. And that's the kind of change that you can see in 6 weeks, Unpuff yourself a little bit. If you can delay the gratification, which seems to be the toughest thing of our generation and the next, to be an old man about it when we're flipping through 4-second TikTok videos, it's tough. It was tough for me. I had to go on to detox and totally delete it a year ago just because it was too much. Anyways, try not to be an old man about it. But our short attention span, yeah, for real. Our short attention span it hurts us in a lot more ways than we're thinking. Even myself, I'm not above this. I'm just my environment, man. I just think we're sponges. To try not to be too doom and gloom about it. Actually, it's a great thing if you know how to steer it. Mm-hmm. Our stoicism books try to help us with that. If we can steer that intention, whatever our environment is what we're going to be.
We have control over all of our decisions.
Yeah, what do they say? You're some of the 5 people that you hang out the most around?
Yeah, and then Marcus Aurelius said, I don't know the exact quote, but basically the gist of it is you have the power in your decisions, and you get your results based on that, whether good or bad.
I mean, it just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going, I want to get to the best shape I can in 6 weeks. Number 1 is less inflammatory food. Less of that you can eat, the better. Number 2 is less alcohol. On Halloween, kill it. Go get it. If you're one of those people who's going to actually be disciplined to hear this and want to diet all the way there, I'm going to tell you the extreme plan. Go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week and go lift weights. so that your body knows what lifting weights is like. You will look more like you lift weights the more you lift weights, up until a point, which is about 4 to 5 days a week, in my opinion. If you're going to do that and follow along and not eat these inflammatory foods, and you can eat in a caloric deficit, and I'll explain what that is in a second as well. But if you can eat less calories, a caloric deficit is when you eat less calories than what you burn every day at rest. So if you can eat less than that, then that amount of calories is what you'll burn every day, and you will lose that amount of fat.
What's a dangerous amount to lose?
It varies per person.
Like, I know people shouldn't just not eat that day.
That's a good question. It varies per person. Every, like, of the clients that I work with, I deal with a lot that are trying to gain muscle, and then I deal with some that are trying to lose fat. And the ones that are trying to lose fat, I only cut a couple hundred calories every few weeks until they get to a place where they're like, okay, this isn't super comfortable, and then we back it off to keep them comfortable. I think that we're taught initially that you can just cut everything and crash diet, and that is possible. You can do that. Some people do, but it's definitely not the healthiest way. And there's also another problem is when you crash diet and just go, I'm not going to eat anything except for water for the next 5 to 10 days or whatever, or I mean, you can't do that, but I mean, you could, but that's hell. If you go, I'm just not going to eat, like say it's Halloween and you're like, oh shit, I didn't do any dieting, I'm just going to eat, what was it, the Beyonce diet that's just lemon, water, and cayenne pepper, and you do that. Oh man, I have girlfriends who've done that, who'll do that for a few days up and before a party, and you know why it works for them is because they didn't put calories in their bodies for 3 days. Like, no shit. You can do that. I wouldn't recommend that. It's definitely not the healthy way to do it. But the thing about crash dieting is, like, you do it 2-3 days, it's not really going to affect you too bad. But you saying, I want to lose 50 pounds in 50 days, I would probably not recommend that depending on your weight, because you're going to lose a bunch of muscle tissue too. If you're somebody who worked hard in the first place or just has muscle tissue, it's so hard. That's the hardest thing in fitness, in my opinion, is gaining muscle tissue. If you've gained muscle tissue, don't lose your muscle tissue. So you can do cardio, but do it over a period of time and cut your calories little by little over a period of time. That's why when we talked about the bodybuilders, how they do that, cut calories, cut calories, cut calories. I mean, they're the ones who wrote the book on it. All the stuff that I say, I didn't make any of this shit up. I'm just parroting what all the YouTubers I watched, and like I said,
that's called
the
you
4
learned
teachers, the 5. Exactly. I'm just the next computer in the matrix, man. I'm just learning the next thing. So cutting your calories is great gradually over time. If you do it all at once and you cut, like, whatever amount of calories you eat a day, 2,500, 3,000, 2,000, if you cut that in half, you're going to be pretty miserable for a while. But I've even done that before going into, like, a pool. I know I'm going to go big pool Miami weekend, and I'm like, oh man, not liking how I'm looking. At least I've not been eating inflammatory things. I'll cut a bunch of calories for a couple days before, and it's not the worst thing ever. And you do lose a little on your waistline, which is cool. If you want the physique change over time and you want to look like the superhero that you want to dress up with in a year or 2 years or 3 years
and not
or
have to
5
buy
years,
the padding that makes you look ripped.
Yeah. If you want to live that life out, which is pretty fun, then we'll change your lifestyle little bit by little bit and do it over a period of time. That's my favorite way to do it, is take your lifestyle, change 1 or 2 things, and then we'll just change 1 or 2 things every time you're comfortable with that new status quo, right?
Yeah.
Keep your life the way it is, keep your diet the way it is. We'll just cut a little bit of calories, and then we'll get you in the gym a couple days a week. And then do that for a few weeks until, oh my gosh, that's my status quo now. I'm comfortable. Okay, cool. Let's add a couple 10-minute walks a week. Oh, I don't know. That's kind of hard. I'll do it for a couple weeks and see how you feel. A couple weeks, 10-minute walks. A couple weeks, your workout's still going good. A couple weeks, your calories still a couple hundred in a deficit. Now that's your new status quo, and it's been 5 weeks, and you've lost 20 pounds. So it happens quicker than you think, but it happens slower than it looks, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very good way of describing it. It's like, it's a paradox that because you're going through it, it just, it feels like hell and it just won't end. And then next thing you know, hey, do you have that report ready? What? I said it'd be done 2 weeks. It's like, it is 2 weeks. What the heck? And then it's like, well, I look a lot better. Oh, there's one thing that I wanted to ask you before. You said, you were talking about your beard, and another thing that people can get more trimmed for, speaking of trim, is Thanksgiving. Do you ever get food in your beard?
Yes. I do.
Do you eat it afterwards?
It depends what the food is. It's like a donut for sure.
What are some of your favorite donut places around here?
Oh my gosh, any place that has donuts.
Have you ever been to Dochi?
Krispy Kreme, what?
Have you ever been to Dochi?
No, what is that?
Dochi is donuts that are made out of mochi, which is like a rice.
I know mochi.
Okay, yes, but yeah, it's on Mills. It's dank.
They taste like mochi or donuts?
Like donuts.
Are they fried mochi? Is that what it is?
I think it is actually, but yeah, it is.
That's what donuts are, right? Just fried dough.
Yeah, exactly, but it's dank.
I'll go with you sometime. I'm all about that. At Smokin' Donuts in Orlando, the food truck.
Oh, where's that?
Oh my God. It's on, it's like Mills and Colonial-ish. Actually, a little further up than that. It's by Seven Bites, if you know where Seven Bites is. It's like right behind it. It's in that little food truck area. I forget what the heck that's called. But I love that. But Smokin' Donuts has incredible donuts. They are so damn good. They're like totally gourmet. Inflammatory food. But that's my cheat day food for sure. There's definitely some donuts. But yeah, Thanksgiving wise, definitely get food in the beard. If I'm seeing a girl at the time, I ask her to do beard checks periodically. I don't get it in there as much as I think people think I would. It's probably like, I would guess once a week or twice a week, but I also don't 100% know, so maybe it's all the time and I'm just not looking and people aren't telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything yet, so...
I don't know, that's why I cover it up with the mic so people can't tell.
There we go. And then also, I guess since Thanksgiving is even a little further out, I think that's like 9-ish weeks now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Thanksgiving's another how far away from 3 more weeks after Halloween?
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, add another 3 weeks on, you can make that's where you can make some real progress. If you have like 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you can really make a dent. I mean, I would do cardio a couple times a week, weights a few times a week, eating in a little bit of a deficit. You can stay consistent on that. Oh my God. And your cardio doesn't even have to be running cardio. If you don't like cardio, just take 3 10-minute walks during the day. Every time you eat a meal, just take a 10-minute walk. If you leave this podcast with anything, take 10-minute walks after you eat food. It is the sneakiest cardio you'll ever get in your life. I'll walk away from a week and I'll have done 30 minutes of cardio in 5 days in a row. And that adds up. Oh my God, 2.5 extra hours of cardio just from taking a 10-minute walk every time I eat. Second bonus, it digests your food way better than you would if you're just sitting at your desk lumped over after you ate. What it's doing is partitioning the nutrients throughout your body, getting them into your intestines and through your bloodstream before you sit down and just hold it there, and then more of it becomes waste. If you're going to actually take a walk and get your blood flowing, I'm saying like a brisk walk. You're not running, you're not standing there, but you're taking a brisk walk. I set my phone timer for 5 minutes. I walk away from my office, and when it goes off, I turn around and walk back. I'm serious. I do it every day.
No, that's a very good method,
3 to 4
actually.
times a day. I don't have stomach aches like I used to. I used to have a bunch of stomach aches. Being a bodybuilder who eats 40 to 50 grams of protein a meal, it's hard to digest 5 to 6 meals a day.
Good Lord, I one time ate a pound of steak to fit my protein macro. That was painful.
Stomach ache. Did you take a 10-minute walk?
I probably should have.
So when I'll go on a date or I'll go out with a girl and we'll go hit a big dinner, let's take a 10-minute walk after the date.
Smart idea, because that also gives you a little extra time if things are going well.
Yeah. And you know what, man? Like, more than anything, it's genuine. And then you tell them about that. I mean, that can also tell you a little bit about them. Like, do they think you're just an absolute dork nerd about your fitness stuff? If they do, probably not the one for me.
Exactly.
If they're down to hear a little bit about it and take a brisk walk outside in the nice weather while we're after a nice dinner, probably a positive thing.
Exactly.
Anyways, 10-minute walks, amazing. The sneakiest, best cardio. I have all of the clients that I train do 10-minute walks once I can fit it into their regimen. It is one of the first things I'll do with them, and everyone loves it. More clear head, gives you time to think in between things. So going up to Thanksgiving, going up to Halloween, being consistent without anti-inflammatory foods, consistent without alcohol, all these things that you check off, the more you check off, the closer you'll be to what you want to look like at that point, as far as like cutting out weight. If you want to look good for the long run, put on muscle. Nothing looks better on a body than putting on muscle. I mean, that's my opinion. It's subjective, but it does seem to be that most of the world agrees with that. I'm not saying be Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, he's another level.
Legend. I'm not saying be Jay Cutler, but be a bit...
The good Jay Cutler, not bad quarterback.
Not the smoking Bears quarterback, but the Olympia champion bodybuilder. I think a lot of people use the excuse, because I did. Want to hear something fucked up? When I was that 150-pound kid that was just total skin and bone, I remember one of my best friends had ripped abs just right out the gate in high school, and I'm like, what do you do, man? What do you do? How do I do that? Like, it's just like he had the most cliche abs you ever saw, like perfect 6-pack, ridiculous. And I was like, I think I probably have a little bit of an advantage over you, man, because when a girl cuddles me, you know, it's going to be like soft and it's not going to be hard and bumpy like your six-pack abs are. The amount of denial that I was in at that time, man. I actually said that.
There's some girls who do like that, but you know what? It's okay because you learned from it. I'm sorry you had to go through any like kind of denial, but you know what? You eventually came into your own, and that's all that mattered in the end.
I just share that story as like, first of all, it is not the most important thing in the world by far to have six-pack abs. Is it fun? Yes. Is it a better way to live? It just is. Do you have to do it? Obviously not. Do most people do it? Obviously not. That's why it's cool. Mm-hmm. Things that are it's supply and demand. Things that are short in supply, high in demand. So having them better. If we have that out of the way, when I could be okay with being, gosh, this sounds so funny, but when I could be okay being insecure with myself, it was actually kind of a bad thing because I was like justifying to myself why not to do the things I didn't want to do. Then when I got to a point where I'm not justifying the things I want to do, then I'm actually doing them. When I was like, okay, I know I don't look like him. I know I would rather look like him, because real me deep down knew I want to look like this guy. I'm just saying this dumb shit to try to explain why I'm fucking embarrassed about myself. That's the thing we have a hard time getting to. I think a lot of people think they're going to put on muscle too fast. They're going to get bulky, especially girls. Girls are like, I'm going to put on muscle too fast. I'm going to get bulky. I don't want to lift weights. I tell you, any girl that really truly lifts will tell you that is not a problem. It takes so long to put on muscle tissue that, unless you're a genetic outlier, which good on you if you are, but it takes so long to put on muscle tissue that will not be an issue. When people think they're toning, I'm going to get on the treadmill and tone. If we're just talking about toning, that's just losing body fat, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just being under your calories, and that's just being under your calories. I mean, you don't even have to work out. You could just eat less and you will lose fat. But to gain muscle, you have to eat protein in excess, meaning 1 gram per pound of body weight that you have, ideally, if you're going to gain weight. So I'm 210 pounds. I have about 210 to 230 pounds of protein a day.
Pounds of protein a day?
I'm sorry, grams.
I was about to say.
A pound.
Yeah, I was about to say, you must be really constipated.
I eat my body weight in protein every single day.
I was about to say, you must be really constipated.
Yeah, that's why I take my 10-minute walks, because I have to digest 230 pounds of meat a day. Yeah, it's a lot of. I have a big bunch of cows in my backyard.
Man, that'd be ideal. This reminds me of one Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns and Mr. Smithers, his assistant, were at a steakhouse and they killed the cows right in front of you. That's how fresh the barbecue was. And so Mr. Burns is like, I'll have that one, and then you just hear the. And then you hear a thud. And then he's like, actually, no, I want that one. And so he goes to like 4 or 5 cows.
Oh, man.
It's horrible. But no, this is all very useful information, Brooks. And is there anything else you want to talk about on the show?
No, I mean, we can just wrap it at that. If you want to get the body you want, really, it's a long-term habit change. Change little tiny things over a long period of time, little by little, and get yourself more comfortable with the little things. And those are the people I succeed the most. The people that I've worked with that succeed the most change in little ways over time. If you just want that 6 weeks from now, less anti-inflammatory, less alcohol, and track your calories and make sure you're in a deficit probably of 200 calories or so under your standard caloric set point. So do that, take your 10-minute walks, and you're going to look awesome when you dress up as your Santa or your slutty witch or your
Luffy.
Your happy nurse or your Luffy.
Nice.
So,
well, Brooks, I just want to say thank you again for carving out some time to rejoin the show. There was a lot of great information. I don't know about simple, it's about executing, but it seems like you're not putting in complicated workouts in which, you have to bend over backwards in order to achieve. But yeah, so for taking some time out and helping us who want to look a little better come the holiday season, that's another reason why I think you, Brooks Jenkins, have big DK energy.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. And we'll re-put all of his social links in the bio. And are you still accepting clients?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're at a place where you want to get big and you want to put on some size, I would be happy to take clients. My Instagram is at Brooks Jenkins 5280, and I would be happy to take clients. Just check me out there, DM me there. I would be happy to point you in the right direction, even if I don't take you on as a client. I at least point you in the direction that you want to go.
Such a mensch, or that's a Yiddish word for a great guy. So, so yeah, hit him up for all your physical needs or some quick. Physical
Not all physical needs. Oh. Don't hit me up for all physical needs. Just the weight game.
Great, I just realized that as soon as you said that. Damn. Well, you know what I mean. But anyway, and is there anything else you want to promote before we head
No,
out?
that's it, man. Happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving, and congrats to Big D, because he won't say it himself. Got a big job this week, and he's doing really well, and he wouldn't tell you that himself, but congrats to you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You're doing it for yourself. I'm happy to see you winning.
I'm happy to see you win as well, Mr. Jenkins. All right, so with that being said, I'm Danny, and we're signing off.